And Ty's dad, if you're watching, give the
He's
guy
not.
a call. Daddy wasn't there.
Second Austin Powers reference in 2 episodes. Let's go!
Welcome back to Show Me Yours podcast with Jackie and Jonny. I'm Jackie Agnew.
I'm Jonny DeVito.
And I'm Ty Bossino.
You're goddamn right. You're
That's
goddamn
good.
right.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do.
I like that you're doing a new one every time.
We're on the fly, man. I like it.
As per usual, the subscribe, like, comment, all that shit. But more importantly, we are joined by a very special guest today. One of the men behind the comedy ring.
I was going to say the brains behind the operation, but
I couldn't think of another word.
The men?
Just makes Ravi seem so feminine.
Yeah,
What is he? What are they saying about you, Ty?
And I'm just a boy.
Your waif-like body.
yeah. You could say the only masculine member of the comedy ring.
Yeah.
The man, not the men, the man behind the comedy ring. Adrian Joseph.
Thank you guys so
everyone.
much for
Thank
having me.
you.
Great fan of the
Thank you.
podcast. Now I'm on podcasts. Great.
Hell yeah.
It's a dream come true.
Yes. I'm coming right now.
That's a message to any listener out there. If you do anything marginally cool, you too could be a member. A guest
I
on the
actually
show.
plug this podcast every time I smoke weed. I plug
Yeah.
this podcast.
Which,
Aw.
Get yourself
which
a
from
sticker.
hanging out with this
There you
guy, let me
go.
tell you,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
It's a lot
already
of
like-
weed.
If
Yeah,
you want a sticker, let us know, and maybe we'll start selling these.
Should we sell stickers?
Yeah.
I'm in the business.
Honestly, great stickers. They've always stuck. They're very, very adhesive.
Great stickers. Everyone does
Everyone, the best
Everyone walks
stickers.
in, they say, "Wow, these are great stickers."
I stuck it down. I go, I can't even peel this sticker up. It's such a good sticker. My goodness.
Yeah, it's not like the back of the Bic sticker. Those are terrible stickers, right?
Oh, yeah. Those are
yeah,
one
yeah,
peel it done, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And they're just gross. They leave
They
behind
get
like a
all
waxy,
Yeah,
like a
I don't
residue.
like
a
that.
fucking
How many
slug
times
trail.
have you been
Yeah.
fucked up though, and you're just playing with it in your fingers?
Yeah.
Was that just me?
No.
I
I
think,
did the
I
same
think
thing.
everybody's done that.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody's done everything. It's just how much you're willing to admit.
Oh yeah.
All these little things in life. Like you ever?
Dude.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that. I like that actually. I could have just been playing it cool this whole time. I've developed an entire act around just admitting all the shit that
Yeah,
everybody's
you
like,
guys
"Man,
pick your bum and smell your fingers too, right?
It's just like a
Right?
statistical thing.
I got a
but-
deep belly button, man. It smells like a butthole probably right now, babe."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take your word for that one. Don't
Okay.
you put that
Oh.
fucking finger near
No,
me.
I watched it actually. I watched it. I got right in there with the shout out to the Manscaped body wash. Actually, not a sponsor anymore, so don't. To use whatever body
You
wash.
know how
body
you know
wash.
how infrequently it happens by him saying, "I washed it." Actually.
Yeah. It's true.
That's a
With the
rare
product that you've had
phrase.
from your house from months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple squirts out of that bottle. That's about it.
Yeah,
That-
Johnny actually looks like a guy who like just came alive in a graveyard.
I
Dusted himself off. It's like this guy was pretty cool. He died too young.
Yeah, exactly. Every morning since I moved in with Jackie, it's weird, right? Because I'm normally used to the birds chirping and the morning dew waking me up. Yeah, I just want to just Undertaker my hand through the dirt every morning. So thanks for taking me out of the graveyard, babe. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime.
Things have been
anytime.
going great. Do you guys remember Night of the Living Dead? The
Yeah.
punk one where they were the graveyard one? By far
yeah.
my favorite zombie movie of all time. Send
Yeah.
more cops.
Yeah, no, it's
Anyway.
a solid flick.
Anyway,
Um,
we're not here to talk about zombie movies, ladies and gentlemen. What we are here to talk about, I think, is one of my favorite genres, or I don't know, areas of music, I guess you would say. It is underground hip hop. It is Adrian Joseph bringing in one of my favorite albums of all time. That we're probably going to do a lot more music talk today than we normally do, which is exciting.
It's fine.
But it's Masta Ace, ladies and gentlemen, the 2004 release, A Long Hot Summer. We talked Pet Sounds. It's a concept album. I said no, thank you. I think what we
That
have
sounds
here.
like shit to me.
Turn this off right meow. I do not want to hear this
You pun
anymore.
sons of bitches. But it's pretty cool when a guest brings in an album that I'm so fond of. We've had many Kanye albums comes in and things, you know what I mean, things like that, where I get the opportunity to maybe explore something that I wouldn't normally listen to. But today I got to go down
Revisit
memory
a
lane.
classic.
Yeah,
for sure,
man.
for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So tell me.
So when did you grow up with this album?
Okay, that's so this one came out around 2004, and
what
I'm
age?
14 at 2004. So when this comes out, it's undergroundhiphop.com was huge at the time.
UGHH.
UGHH. yeah.
UGHH.
They had a lot of problems.
Datpiff.net.
All of that stuff is kind of where we went to, for that thing. So, I mean, at that time, I'm 14 years old. So finding hip hop, I was kind of coming into it from like, I was a punk rock kid, and then everything kind of changed. Friends started kind of going more into like a criminal aspect. A lot of drugs were being sold and things like that. Crime was kind of happening. Violence was popping up. And then the music that was my friends started listening to was kind of like mirroring the neighborhood or maybe even the environment we were creating for
you
ourselves.
probably got into like some New York grimy type
Yes.
hip hop shit.
One of the first CDs that was floating around that I didn't even have a case to, a friend of mine handed me Onyx, Back the Fuck Up Part 2.
Okay.
And you get into it, you go,
What an intro.
Yeah,
part
you really
2.
turn from 0 to 10 really quickly. But it was also kind of weird because it was also we were young enough and like West Coast enough to really kind of fall into like the Tupac, like Death Row stuff was huge, and almost to the point in my neighborhood where some guys were like wouldn't listen to East Coast hip hop for like whatever reason or whatever, which I found was
because they live on the east side of Richmond.
No, dude, I'm saying the east side of Trail, British Columbia, a town of 10,000 people. There's no reason to have any affiliation with any or like you to draw any hard lines in the sand as far as music is concerned.
But
right?
that was an interesting thing when the whole East West Coast beef, because like we're West Coast and you like but East Coast just has so much dope music.
Me too.
You know?
Oh,
So
I agree.
Yeah,
right?
it was tough.
it's
Yeah,
hard.
there's always like the exception, right? It was like other than Wu-Tang, of course,
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
Everyone was like,
Definitely.
of course, but Wu-Tang is like, well, that's a different
I
thing.
think MF2
Ain't
flew under the
nothing to
radar. Like the Roots are like, hey man, we're from Philadelphia. We don't fucking want any. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So if any of that stuff was like, if anybody had any affiliation, I thought it was kind of weird because hip hop was like the first time the like storytelling and like you know what I mean. That's kind of the like the lyrics aspect
like
is what I
folk
really
music
kind
has
of
a lot
drove
of
through.
lot of storytelling, but you know, hip hop is like the kind of ghetto or urban version a lot of times of that storytelling. But
sure.
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
very similar. You know,
100%, right? And like I think like there's it's kind of I always gravitate towards like music like the working class and the underdog story or whatever, right? And then poverty and kind of seeing a little bit of that. And I think that a lot of that stuff, minus like the gun violence that's like really heavily throughout a lot of hip hop and stuff, a lot of this shit was like really mirrored a lot of the like the stuff that was kind of going on.
I
right?
actually am a fan of the gun violence.
Oh, for sure. I'm just saying it didn't exist in my
Personally.
neighborhood.
My favorite.
It's not
part, yeah.
relatable, but it's like there are people who live in this world,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
The game
yeah.
used to have like when his mixtapes were dropping to come up, basically.
Yeah.
He had so much dope shit, and all he would do is reference like old sport references and shit. And I remember this one line. He's like, "I'll put 2 O's in your chest like Robert Parrish," and it's like, "Fuck, that's
Yeah.
such a dope line.
Totally.
That's about shooting a guy twice, but like you keep
Yeah.
it parallel."
Totally.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
it's there,
yeah,
right? But I think like for Rakim
But
had
that's a very
yeah,
clever line,
yeah,
right?
definitely. But I think Rakim was always like famous for that whole thing. Is like he was. I think at the early stages of hip hop, definitely where Masta Ace is kind of coming in too. You have those guys that are like really kind of doing like that poetic version or whatever. Like like Nas has songs of like told in like in the perspective of a gun and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
These are all
that's a
these
great
like,
song.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
but all these like literary kind of techniques are used or whatever, right? And like metaphor,
Gave You
especially.
Power, I think that's
yeah,
what it's
yeah,
called,
absolutely. And if if metaphor is used correctly, then it's like I'm busting you upside your head with like a rhyme or whatever. And I think that was like a famous Rakim quote. But then like when you start to go a little bit deeper into this thing, because like when I'm a fucking 12, 13-year-old kid or whatever, and somebody shows you Onyx, at the same time somebody showed me like ICP or whatever, and I was like, this is fucking crazy. Or like break stuff was happening too, you know what I mean? Like Korn was coming out. This was Mudvayne, Slipknot, bands were pushing Marilyn Manson. Everything
and the
was
hip hop
was there.
crossover. I mean, it was always there a little bit, like
Yep.
Run
Yep.
DMC and Beastie Boys, but the hip hop kind of punk crossover
Yeah.
was happening a lot more, and like a lot more aggressive kind of like Tech Nine has very like
absolutely,
like
for sure.
aggressive
Absolutely.
kind of punk.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot like when I went to Deer Lake Park, they had what was it, Rock the Bells.
Dude, 2008.
Yeah.
I was there too,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah. Supernatural. So when Supernatural was, do you remember when Supernatural was freestyling?
Yeah.
So the CD that he grabbed was my bro giving
Really?
him my CD. And
Oh,
then
shit.
he had a line of
That's
us.
so
I
was
remember
dope.
somebody trying to
Yeah.
pass him a joint. He's like, I would smoke it, but the
Yeah.
shit's too little.
Yeah.
I remember that shit.
It was dope. That was that. But Tech Nine had people like jumping
When
there,
I
right? The
was
white
there,
people were.
when
they-
I hadn't heard of Tech Nine.
We're loving
Dude,
it.
I was there. Like, I mean, it was a huge day. I'm a big fan of like underground hip hop, especially starting out with like High Tech and Talib Kweli, like Charlie Tuna from Jurassic 5 was there.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? There was like the lineup was crazy. So when Tech Nine
Nas
came
and
on,
Marley were there.
when they closed it out, it was fucking nuts, right? But when Tech Nine comes on stage, that was the point where me and my girlfriend at the time were like, it's hot and it's in the sun, and we're like, we need to get something to drink and get something to eat or whatever. So we're gonna like bail out of here, and then after this, we'll get as close as we can to the front and finish out the day.
Yep.
And as we were walking back, we just see the fucking weirdos like
Yeah,
coming in, and
gravitate
we're like,
'cause
who
they
the
knew.
fuck? I was like, who invited
Yeah.
like the Juggalos? Like, I
Yeah.
didn't see any of this shit coming. And then I just from the back of the thing got to see Tech Nine do his thing, and I was like, oh, like, especially coming from like, you know what I mean, like a rock or punk thing. That was incredible to see, right?
For sure.
But like, I think that so when you're a kid, you're kind of drawn towards that wilder side of music. Like I think hip hop was like more grounded in like something a little bit more real.
Yeah. for
Right.
sure,
And I think
for
that
sure.
was the things. Then the more and more that you discover, I think like the thing that really drew me in to make like a long story a little bit shorter was like the East Coast West Coast thing was always ridiculous because I gravitated towards storytellers regardless, right?
Yeah.
And then finding this album in particular was like was next level.
Using the whole album to tell a story.
100%, yeah.
Like
man.
I've done hip hop and done a lot of stuff in it, but I've never. It's hard. It's hard to write like a whole album that every track is about this same idea and this and it's cohesive and it's a story.
22 tracks to be exact.
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
22
Yeah.
tracks on this fucking album, dude.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
wild.
And
man.
it really
It's
does
such
like
good
almost
front to
feel like
back.
watching a movie because it's
What
so
a hun-
descriptive.
It's like radio play
yeah.
style, man.
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
It kinda
It's
does
like
set
a
it
really
up, right?
vivid
Yeah.
picture and like everything that he says. And I think it's funny too because he can kind of take this like backseat approach to like lyricism almost, where if like anybody else was spitting some of these rhymes, they would be whack. You know what I mean? Very simple, but just with a dope voice and told the right way and with the right cadence. You know what I mean? Right? I think that there's some like, even like you think I'm washed up, like I got in the tub, and like there's some of that stuff that might be considered even to like to rap snobs or lyrical dudes or whatever that might be like what
Oh,
like
I
turn
saw
your nose
people's
up to that.
reviews. Like there were people who were saying, like reviewers that were like, "Oh, skip the first 5 songs," and like,
No shit.
The same thing they said that they quoted that same line, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, there's some." But
Yeah.
the thing is, Masta Ace has always been like
Totally.
that.
Yeah.
He's always been kind of simple. He's not like Rakim or
No.
he's not like super lyrical.
Totally.
He just has this like very smooth style and
Yeah,
he
the
always-
words that he's like picked are like they're like notes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're like
Interesting,
specific. Like it's like they're not the most common
Well,
words. Like that's a perfect fucking word for that.
Totally.
And
Yeah.
see, there's a
Totally.
thing like when
like
you're
no
rapping,
extra
like,
Yeah.
like fuss on it. Yeah.
like when you're rapping, like you can rap and just end the end of the bar, right? Like you could end a rhyme with like DeVito and just say the last word and have it be Guido. But if you say like Johnny DeVito, he's probably a Guido. Then it's like a multi where you're
Yeah.
rhyming like all the words in it.
See, like that's
And that's
the-
all
yeah.
he does. And so
Totally.
when you have 2-bar multis where it's like, it always ends with like, update, fuck
Yeah,
fate. Like
totally.
it just has, it's
Yeah.
like almost not, it's not like that's the perfect way. It's almost because now the styles have changed, but that was like this precision, like mechanics way to rap.
Yeah.
Basically.
Well, he came at the time. Like I think that's it's weird because he's almost like I think slept on more so like when he came out he was the youngest member of the Juice Crew, right? And when you're looking at like hip hop greatness and legends, that means that he's in the shadow of Cool G Rap and Big Daddy Kane. Yeah. Plus like Roxanne and Craig G and stuff like that.
KRS,
Whoever,
like
so,
he came up in this era, Marlon,
Totally.
all these guys, all
Yeah.
these legends around
Right,
you,
right.
and you're there, you're okay, it's like,
Yeah,
can you
but-
make your way? Right?
Totally right, and I think that he did it like I think the breakout song like on the Symphony when he has the first verse on it. You know what I mean? It's so clean and so smooth and so technical. I think that's like the beginning of that like multi-syllable rhyme structure and shit like that. Like when that, like, you know, when it that's the, like when it opens the door from like Curtis Blow to like from these are the breaks and stuff like that to getting like a little bit more real, a little bit more into the neighborhood, and then and more technical rhyme styles and stuff like that. It's it spawned so much more technical stuff, you know what I mean, to like a Tech 9 guy or whatever now, but I love that he stayed in the pocket, can still do it, to like they had the single off the R.A. the Rugged Man Legends Never Die album with R.A. and Brother Ali and Masta Ace still doing that, the Dangerous 3. You know what I mean? He's still in the fucking pocket and like and getting the proper respect I think that he deserves after.
And that's the thing.
He's almost 60 years old.
Very
now, you know?
clearly
he's been around for that long.
Yeah. He's because he was so young in the 80s. Like, but he enunciates everything. There's some rappers you listen to, especially when you watch people live, and you're like,
I
don't know what you're fucking
and now it's like. There's a
now
whole genre.
Like,
There's a whole genre where you just purposely don't say shit.
Yeah, literally, it's what it's called.
Well, I have a real problem with it because this is my favorite shit, right?
And
because,
see, that was a thing that people almost used to like. I think people like the Roots saw that approaching, where it's like, oh, some of these guys like even like a guy like Master P, another master.
When you said Master Ace for this album, I was like, I mean, I know Master P and those No Limit Soldiers.
You're not really, you're not
no
mystical, bro.
Yeah.
Saying,
Did I do that?
Danger. Like you could just say one word. Like I think they lost some of the lyrics because even Master P, his whole thing was like make him say na na na, but like that doesn't mean. Did you just listen to Sha Na Na and then be like,
right? But with, you know,
you're not saying anything.
Well, I think that like that's where you do have to like kind of like take a step back because there is a market for everything. Because if you look at what Masta Ace did to like an underground hip hop scene, garnered so much, you know what I mean, respect. Yeah. But I went and saw him at the Alexander. That was like a very poorly promoted show, and I was fucking shocked of how few people were there. Right. You know what I mean? Because there has to be a bunch
that's
of
always
nerds.
Heartbreaking too, though.
Dude, I'm
like
right
now, right?
I'm going to see
your
a legend, right?
Yeah,
I'm going to see a legend.
100% is. 100% is. But then you go up and you're like,
and you're like,
God
fuck
damn.
Vancouver. I'm just like, you're pissed, right? You want to go to every hip hop head's house that you know and
Where
just
were
smack
you?
the shit out of him.
because I could be a goddamn legend.
Of course.
Like
this could be my life.
Like I get, like I
wild.
and I get, like Master P's obviously way more successful than Master Ace, but
He got a
and
gold tank.
He
got several gold tanks.
and I think he got cut from the Toronto Raptors.
I mean, but the fact that
play
he was
basketball.
capable to
He had
even
a cup of tea
get
with him.
here.
His
He had a
name
cup
is
of tea with him.
Percival, I think.
Yeah, I think
like
his
Master
Percy. Yeah,
He's got
there you
he's
go.
got like a black like yeah.
I think
Like
I keep an eye out for
black
his kid. I
mark
think
in
his kid's a real baller too.
Yeah,
Actually,
but like my point more was just like, okay, there's guys who are the mumble rappers now, and you don't know what the fuck they're saying. And the Roots had the song "Don't Say Nothing," where the chorus was like,
don't say nothing.
and but like the Masta Ace is like enunciating everything. There's never a word that you don't know what he's saying.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's part of the thing too, of just like he's trying to get across this storytelling, this poetry. It's like the best way to do it is so that everybody can understand exactly what you're saying, right? Which he always does, like, so cleanly. So that's why this album, I think, is, I don't know if it's better than, so there's another album, Disposable Arts, which is technically like Long Hot Summer is a prequel to Disposable Arts, right? I don't know. I feel like this one's better just because it's almost a better story.
I think that it's the story, because we were talking about it at the show the other night, that I think you could argue that there's like the track listing, you know what I mean? There might be an argument that there's some like maybe put together that Disposable Arts might be. It depends on, you know, what day.
It's just like,
you know, you ask
both concept albums for sure.
Exactly.
Right, but like one more, a little more, like not so like on. Well, still on purpose, fucking concept, but not as like
like a
front
story
to back
about a
story.
guy meeting his cousin in New York is more. Like it seems like more like a movie, like you said.
Totally right, and with that,
like
and with the characters
college,
being so good,
right? That's like
exactly
a little, because it's not a thing that's rooted in reality as much. Right?
Exactly. I think like it's cool to see him do, and I think Disposable Arts was kind of like the show and prove thing. Like I'm a pro, and kind of like he has the confidence to you know to go and do that, right? Yeah. Where when you're just telling a story, EMC has a really good album called The Show. EMC, the show. And they have 3 of them, I think. There's
The Show was the first one, right?
Yeah.
Great album. It's like, the concept is basically them like the whole album is like them heading to the show, doing the stuff,
getting
all
off the
stuff
plane,
that
fucking having one of them steal the promoter's car, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It's like
There's another album called, I don't know what it's called, I can't remember, but
there's
Russell
two follow-ups.
Peters is all over it. It's like it's all about like it's like a comedy show or like a comedy club.
Yeah.
It's actually it's pretty dope.
right, and they're like
Check it out.
they're like kind of the best at doing, I think, with like Ace kind of at the wheel, but the other two members in EMC, or the other three, I think, is Wordsworth, Strickland. And Punchline.
Punchline, but I feel like Punchline's not on it.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel like, I don't know, I just
because that was always Punch and Words, right? I thought they were always kind of together, but but either way,
this album,
definitely. But when it's, I think with the bigger concept or whatever, the hip hop college kind of thing or whatever, there's nothing kind of cooler than just like a classic kind of New York tale or whatever with crime involved, and with like Fats Belvedere becoming just like a just as big a part of this album, and he doesn't have a fucking verse on the whole thing.
Do you know what Fats Belvedere looks like?
I know exactly what Fats Belvedere looks like. He's a big fat Italian guy.
Yeah, I had never seen him.
Do you have to with a name like that? I think you got it, right?
Oh my god.
He looks like a mix.
Oh yeah.
He looks like a mixture of a couple comics we know.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
That's hilarious.
But apparently he's a music producer, session musician, guitar player, and all
I
this
didn't
stuff.
know any of that,
he's got a
actually,
bunch of there's a little write up on him on some website that.
So like
interesting, kind of
Punch and Words on it. Jean Grey, classic. Probably one of the best female rappers there is. Jean Grey.
There's this album is like just so much shit. There's so many people on it.
Beat Nuts, Rozelle, everybody's great, and then even Michael Rappaport, he kind of ruins it.
Michael Rappaport ruined it for himself.
Let's not say great and Michael Rappaport anywhere near each other. That guy's a bum.
Can we go in on?
There we go.
Can we spend a minute?
Ty's just been waiting for this.
Ty, let him have it.
Well, he's so woke that I'm surprised he hasn't like retroactively condemned Ace and the whole production team and album because they say faggot twice. Pat says faggot.
Totally.
Yeah.
Like all throughout the thing, and I mean, I don't know. It's funny for everybody to like go back, like backtrack now, because.
It's so stupid.
Yeah, well, it's
stupid.
interesting because like it's weird too to think of Ace like he's almost 60 years old, right? Because you don't think of hip hop as like an old thing, and I think that we're kind of seeing that happen, right? Yeah, exactly. Because if you see like Reverend Run and shit like that, damn near a fucking elderly man, right? But there's it's kind of weird for artists or whatever to kind of backtrack and be like. You know what I mean? Take back, especially some of that shit, right? When that was just like, you know what I mean? Especially with Fats, like the general way that somebody's going to talk to somebody and say, "Get the fuck out of the car."
Yeah.
It's part of the kind of theme and the ethic of what's
100%.
going on,
Yeah,
right? Like I remember in Stranger Things when the dad tells the kid to go. He's like, stop looking in the mirror like a faggot and go find your sister. It's like that's how an '80s dad talks.
Yeah, it was
80s,
part of the
that's how my
culture, and it's so
well
like
into the 2000s.
fucking dumb to like try and go back and like judge shit that people said in the 80s or 90s by like 2022 standards. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
I think it's just it's what do you have on the line and what's coming up, and like what are you willing to how deep are you going to dig back into your own past, and like what are you going to apologize for, because it's fucking ridiculous.
One of my favorite.
I'm lucky enough that I keep my mouth shut online.
Yeah.
One of my
you
favorite
could go back
movies
in the
is
podcast.
Soul Man.
Yeah,
You guys know Soul Man with C. Thomas Howell?
No.
So C. Thomas Howell is like a white guy who's trying to get into like a prestigious school, but he can't until he finds out that you can get a grant if you're black. So he orders these tanning pills and just like
dude.
and then he's black. It's just him in blackface. But it honestly is such a fucking great movie. Like James Earl Jones in it, Ray Dong Chong.
Dude, as is The Party with Peter Sellers.
It's such a funny movie. Like it really is like. It's hilarious. But you could never do it now.
Have you ever seen The Party?
What's that?
It's a Peter Sellers movie from like the 60s.
Okay.
So he plays this like Indian actor, and he's just so it's Peter Sellers in brown face.
Yeah.
The entire film. So he's like an Indian actor, and there's a big Hollywood movie that filmed out in India, and he like fucks it all up. He ruins this huge big shot. Yeah. Somehow, some way, he gets invited to a really posh party in the Hollywood Hills. Like by accident.
Is he a turban or headdress Indian? Which is
there's a bit of everything in it. There's a little bit.
What
of
is he? Is he
Peter
both?
Sellers?
Yeah.
Peter Sellers. Peter Sellers is a white dude.
Double Indian.
Peter Sellers is a white dude.
Because like, who is Peter Sellers?
Who did the Pink Panther? He's the original like Spencer Clouseau. He's like he's a comedic actor.
I have a record in my that I bought one time just because I thought the cover was so cool, but it's just I guess his feet. He's hanging himself by and it says songs for swinging sellers.
Yeah,
and I
seems
just
like,
thought that was really funny. Yeah, but I never listened to the record.
He was like a true playboy, like that kind of guy. But it's like, yeah, this whole movie is just about him being like an awkward Indian guy at like a really white, rich Hollywood party.
Jesus,
it's the whole movie. It's just like, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Let's get
you
this.
You don't even have to go that far back. Fucking Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
But that was probably the last.
That was probably the last.
Definitely,
but maybe the
What
best.
a way to go. Yeah, go out with a bang. Yeah.
Until we remake The Party.
Yeah, coming soon.
Soon,
Jackface. We'll do the reverse party, so it's Ravi and Whiteface.
No. It's got to be someone trans.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the only way we get away with it.
He's been waiting to transition.
Yeah,
He's close. Oh, we've got some pictures in the chat. I mean, he says he's using filters, but that might have just been real make.
He's looking at the. He's got all the fucking the photos for references. Like when he sends a screenshot and all the pictures underneath are just big titty girls. It's the funniest
it's like
goddamn
you can see
thing.
his camera roll underneath. It's all just screenshots of girls with heavies. To be fair,
He knows what he likes.
Which that's fine. Like I'm fine with that. But it is like there is a folder where it literally is all just like the heads of people, Like
oh
folder
he's
is just,
he did Justin Nickel in a post in a comment section within like minutes. You know what I mean? And like he does it in the chat or whatever. But I'm like, I thought that's just what he's
great pride in it, guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't understand how he does it on his phone so quickly.
It's
Know,
wild.
like
We're giving away trade secrets here.
He's all about the efficiency. You should see him try to tape a poster. He'd be like, "I'll do it in 4 seconds."
I saw
a lot of teeth.
You guys took a video
lot of teeth.
Best teeth in the biz.
Them choppers, bro. Yeah. Well, definitely it's not me. Okay. Not a high bar to beat.
The best teeth, maybe the most teeth in the biz.
Yeah. I'm like a fucking shark.
It's that second row.
Keep coming back. I don't get how it
It's
works.
that second row.
Yeah, bro. Listen, I don't know if you guys ever tried bluefin tuna by itself. It's very hard. All right, I need a bigger mic. Okay.
Ty's mom's just like, no, it's normal. A normal person has 47 teeth.
yeah.
Don't let those other kids make fun of you. They just
But
have
now
a
remember, every
second row.
one at a
you
time,
imagine-
right? So it's the brush schedule.
Dude,
Just take forever. Just do them individually.
Here's the worst. Yeah, the tooth fairy fucking hates me. She's like, again? Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Guys, taking me to the plot.
I've been in
You
this
have
kid's
to-
house 5 times this week.
You have to flush like vertical and like
And horizontal. You got to get
Yeah. Yeah, it's like a car wash situation, really. Good times.
Do you guys ever water pick? I got a water pick.
I have one, but
Oh.
I very rarely use it. I should
Oh,
get
it's a
back
life
into using
changer.
it. Yeah,
I'm
it
really
is
into
good.
it.
It's true.
Disgusting.
Flossing is
Is what it
terrible,
is.
though. It is.
It hurts.
disgusting.
Oh, you should. Yeah, the
hurts.
shit that comes out of my mouth is.
Does anyone else's mouth bleed all the time?
Yeah, non-stop.
It's terrible.
But yeah, the water picks, the game changer.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got to water.
I don't know, man. I'm fucking
That was
high,
a
man.
journey. That
That was
started
a journey.
shitting on Michael Rappaport.
Really turned on me.
Moved
Yeah, we didn't even get Ty's
moved
been like
into classic
pent up.
movies.
Yeah.
Then we just shit on. We talked
Classic
about Ravi.
movies,
Shit
yeah.
on Ty.
Yeah, this sounds like a regular night when we're hanging out after a show, to be
I
honest.
think
Circle back to water.
That could be
pick.
the danger of a podcast, right? Like when it's
Yeah.
when it's too friendly, right? When we're too into the.
I think the people like it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
You're gonna have to stitch
Fucking
it
better.
together. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah,
But
well,
either
last podcast we just talked about how I didn't have a dad for 10 minutes, so that was great too. So glad I signed up.
Shitting on Ty.
So glad we
Yeah.
signed up.
Yeah.
We need someone to look at to just make fun of whenever it's going to be dead air.
No, I know, I
Yeah.
swear.
No, this is good radio. This is good radio.
Who's shitting on Andy? I thought it
We've
was
established I have the face for it. I don't.
You can put as much shit in your hair as you want.
Ty has a face for comic books. Actually, I think he looks like the white
Very
character.
expressive. Yeah.
He's very
Yeah.
expressive. Yeah, he's crying all the time. Oh, he's in tears.
Feel the pain.
Absolutely, the man emotes.
Okay, real quick though, with this album, I am gonna say this. I think that my favorite. I think it's like a standard thing that in order to have a good hip hop album, you need an interlude.
Now the interlude's
Yeah.
important to you.
The
Todd.
interlude
Can you
is
break down some of
important.
your favorites?
And this jam, this joy right here, this album has about 7 interludes on it.
It's 25% interlude.
It's
Yeah.
25% interludes.
That's actually why there's 22 songs on it. A lot of them are actually, you know what I mean?
Unbelievable. Like for real though, I think that it's really well done. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like what
Well,
is
the
this
way
like?
even the way it starts with sampling James Brown Down and Out in New York City. So
Yep.
it's like setting that
Then
up.
goes
Totally.
and then
Like
at
a
the end,
movie.
and then the end of that, it's like the sample of the end of that. That's the count, right? Or at the end of it, they use a fucking like "Goodbye Pork Pie Hat,"
Yeah.
which is like a
Yeah.
Charles
Yeah.
Mingus song,
Yeah.
dude.
Which
Like,
is
what?
dope.
Dude?
Yeah.
The samples on this album are insane. And, like I know that some people like don't quite understand the importance of sampling or
Yep.
think that it's like stealing in some way, but I'm like, no, the ones that are done really well, I'm like. These songs are picked for a reason. These mean
Totally.
something
Yeah.
to these
Yeah.
people,
Absolutely.
and it's such a
Yeah.
fucking cool way to show
And it-
your history of music is too.
And it adds
Definitely.
like another layer to the listener too, because it can like kind of like evoke like nostalgia
Oh, yeah.
too.
For
so
sure.
it's like another like layer of like
or a
enjoyment.
familiarity, like, oh, I know
Yeah.
this from somewhere. Like
Yeah.
maybe you do know. But I love
Yeah.
hunting when you like find a song, then you see the sample, and then you go hear it and see like
Yeah,
Blackstreet, the Grandma's Hands,
Yep.
Bill Withers. Like it's literally just like the very first note of him humming, and they just took that. But
I wouldn't have found
can-
Parliament,
Yeah.
Funkadelic,
Yeah.
or any of that
Yeah.
shit.
You can do
Well, it
so
also,
much
plants,
with
it
so
also
little.
plants the seed for later too, right? Like I mean, especially like as a young kid, if you're like consuming all of this stuff, sampling especially, but as like diving into lyrics, loving scratch hooks, right? Like
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
definitely in the age of underground hip hop, every great song or whatever is basically just as many 16 fucking verse bars as you can, and then whatever
Yeah.
scratching in between.
Yeah.
And then later, as you kind of grow and stuff like that, and then you find, or you hear that sample, or you find what that is later
Yeah,
in life,
yeah,
or
yeah.
you find what that was, you know what I mean? What
that
fucking verse or
Yeah.
what was ever scratched in that hook.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Then it kind of like it builds and it builds
Yeah.
and it builds, right? So like that first moment of discovery when you're like a kid, or you finally connect those dots. I still get stoked for that. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
you know, like as far as you go down, right? But like I think. It's like, Ty, have you ever dabbled in any kind of music production? Like a friend of mine has had, like I've seen what it takes to have a record player, sample it, put it on an MPC, and try to like and create it. And I don't understand. Like it's analog technology, right? Now it can be done very easily with computers and stuff. But at this time and the kind of the techniques these guys were doing, to say that it is just stealing or whatever, a lot of those people like don't really know what you know what I mean, kind of the skill that it takes to do it and to do it well, right? Because it speaks to
Well, it's kind of like I've seen people like my buddy, my producer Rob in Arizona. Like he has taken a record, flipped it, and made it, and then just chopped it up in front of me in like 20 minutes. It's like he's pretty adept at it.
Totally.
But it's kind of like you're taking a little piece of the song, right? It's like the song is like a farm that has all these type of vegetables, but it's like you're just taking tomatoes, but then you're making a tomato sauce, right? Like it's something complete.
Totally.
You're just taking a little element of it, sometimes just the tiniest element, and you know, whether you flip it backwards or you manipulate it, slow it down, whatever the thing is, like then you're making it into something new, right? I mean, there are people who sample shit and they straight up just jack it, right?
course,
Like Puff Daddy, "I'll Be Missing You." I'm like, wow, he's such a genius. Then you hear the Police song, it's like, wow, this is, you know,
Yeah.
or
It's the
Kanye.
same thing.
Sting's like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Kanye, Gold Digger, is
yeah.
Ray Charles. You know,
Kanye,
it's like,
fucking Daft Punk, Faster, like all that shit.
yeah,
Their
Yeah,
sample,
yeah.
but there are people that
And
take
the-
samples that are like
and it
super
used to be a
tight.
thing.
And the fucking Kanye and Jay-Z, the Otis too. Yeah.
Smoke Your
Yeah,
Rocks
when
and-
it's done like that, it's
Yeah.
crazy because it's the equivalent in like rock and roll or whatever when like the Hives do "Are You Gonna Be My Girl" and it's "Lust for Life" or whatever. So like when it's done in hip hop, you're like, you had all the tools to
Well, I
even
think-
tweak the pitch, or like you could have just done that.
Yeah.
And made it different.
I
you
think,
know what I mean?
but I think to a degree, it almost like fostered originality in people, because people
Totally.
used to worry about sample clearances, like, oh, we can't actually use that, we won't, we can't afford it, or we won't, you know. So that makes it so then you have to kind of do your own thing with the MPC, or
Totally.
I mean, it's not that you can record Ty playing guitar and strumming a couple notes and use that as sample, right? It's just like it's not like you can record something off the radio and use that. So it's really it's you're taking a very basic element and making it something. It's just people have already figured out like the part that's catchy about it. But like the sample on Soda and Soap is the end of the song where the guy's just basically just kind of fucking around, right?
Yeah.
So it, you know, you hear something, and then it's also the combination of it, like the Ninth Wonder one, Good Old Love.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's a song like "Give Me Some Good Old Love" where the guy is saying that, but then it's the mixture of applying. The actual producer of the whole track, Ninth, is like, let me take the top billing, you know, that has so many samples in it, right? It's like you're putting that all together. It's like it's one thing to be like, I'm going to take this tomato and I'm going to take this garlic and I'm going to take, but to know what to do with it. You know,
totally.
Like you don't just fucking throw it all in whole. Like you.
Well, that's why you put fucking that. It's like that's why you put that at the top of the fucking album too, or like at least like
Sweat
the second
them
track
onions.
or whatever.
So that was-
So see how excited he got
Sweat
bringing in
those
a
onions.
fucking tomato sauce analogy to
I was
to
very
hip-hop.
excited. I just made one of my best
Worlds
tomato sauces.
colliding. Yeah.
I know what
one of my best sauces that I ever made last night. I can tell you all about it. I got anchovies in there. It's fucking fantastic.
I know what podcast I'm on.
You're speaking my language, kid.
But so good old
See the
love.
way Adrian brought it up too. He's like, you know, when you got a tomato sauce.
Yeah, it's like
I'm listening.
Dude, and then I just called it back where I was like,
you're like,
And
I
then
don't think
I like how you had a
tomato
garlic the
sauce
second
got
time.
enough
I
of a
appreciate it.
reaction.
Exactly.
Let's go into the other
You're
ingredients.
sweating
Celery,
onions.
yeah.
You were doing.
He just got the mirepoix in there, right? Celery, onion.
So it's like when you're sweating the onions, you know? Yeah.
If you guys
wanna
want to
have
add
a little
you guys
white
want to take that to the
wine.
next
Yeah,
level,
yeah.
you chop up a little anchovy in there, a little red wine, fucking take it to the next level.
We got like 3 and 4. We got some fucking people that like to cook up
can
in this
cook.
fucking
Yeah,
room
we
right
can
now,
go.
man.
We can go.
We've been down, yeah,
We gotta do another
absolutely.
one
We've been
soon,
down to
for
fucking
sure.
fuck it up.
100%.
For sure.
We need the Comedy Ring Golf Open. We need the Comedy Ring catering company. We need we need a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
Good Old Love, so Good Old Love has that Show Me Some Good Old Love song, has Top Billin', has fucking samples from the King of Comedy in it, because it's like it has Bernie Mac, where it's like, show me some love.
Oh,
yeah.
So it has that, and it has Steve Harvey, and it has Stetsasonic. So it's like that's like 5 or 6 things that are put together, and then there's also other elements like the bass or whatever.
Yep.
People always used to say Ninth like used the same snare all the time. Like because he used to just produce. It was like so
I
well
think
known that he
there's-
only produced on Fruity Loops, which
Yeah.
is basic.
Yeah,
And he
that's
always used the
wild.
same snare. But then later on, I found out it was like, no, he didn't. He just always EQs it so that it sounds the same. But
Right.
so it's like you're putting this signature on
But
it.
well, there is like a certain like Ninth Wonder. Like I mean, there's some producers that you know like Premier for sure, right? Or like maybe like P Rock or something. But Ninth Wonder has this kind of like soulful element to it that you know that's like a Ninth Wonder. Like anything between like Little Brother or like the Buckshot stuff that he did with Chemistry and the Formula and stuff like
Oh,
that.
that shit
There's
was great.
definitely
Yeah.
fuck yeah, right? But there's like I kind of think that there's a level of soul to it that makes me think that like especially with Good Old Love here.
It really just comes to you from like what kind of music the producer is listening to.
Totally.
Like what kind of records their dad had or whatever. Sorry,
Yeah.
Ty. I looked right at him when I said it.
You know, like we all experience that closeness with our dads.
Oh my goodness.
He's just trying to find the records of his existence.
Mine came back later. Ty used to keep coming back.
I'm just looking for a birth record, bro.
Is there a certificate?
Certificate, anything.
Show me some paperwork, Andy.
I don't care about the Doobie Brothers. I just want to.
Doobie Brothers. I'll take any brother.
Yeah. I might have a brother.
And the interesting thing too with the samples is like it keeps going. So there's that song "To Grind," which samples Nas and Jerry Butler and Brenda Lee. So it's like, okay, that samples that, but then Mac Miller's song "Smoke Signals" samples that song "To Grind," right? So
Oh, no shit. Nice.
It's like there's like this constant.
It keeps giving back.
Yeah,
You know
it's
what I
like
mean?
there's
He's
this
had like
constant
Nas samples
cycle.
on this. Like there's samples that are like on this album that are like literally from like 2 years prior. Or some
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
like
yeah,
that. It's
yeah,
like
sure.
fucking so cool.
Hell
I think
yeah.
it is such a cool way to showcase. Like what you grew up on, dad or not, and what you were into, and
what you
influence-
raised yourself on.
Yeah. What
Music
influenced
is
you.
your daddy, Ty.
Yeah, 100%.
But
That and The Simpsons seasons 1 through 12. It's like it's like I like when people do this in songs sometimes where like they'll if someone's playing guitar they'll make a reference to I don't know, they'll make a reference to Jimi Hendrix, something like that, and they'll play like a 9 chord when they're doing that, which is like notoriously known as like if that's the Jimi Hendrix sounding chord.
Right.
That's kind of what sampling is to me.
see.
I'm like, it's a cool way just to put that little like I'm paying homage to these fucking dope people behind me.
Totally.
That help me, get to where I'm at musically. It can be like a really nice, beautiful fucking thing. I think a lot of people have the wrong idea about sampling.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like well, I mean now
And this record's proof because it's unfucking believable how much shit is on it, and it's like
100%. But it is kind of weird too because it could be such like a cohesive album with like a lot of times you'll see like a producer and a rapper kind of team up for this whole thing, right? Like there's different producers
Guru and
the whole
Premier,
thing.
like sometimes it can be like crazy, magnificent combination, right?
Totally, right? But like so it's like kind of cool that this whole thing came together with him like making all these. I don't know if like the songs came first and then the idea to to make the story around it or whoever.
Yeah,
however that happened, but like at the end of the day, they still kind of like there's one like with Do It Man here with Big Noid and produced by Marco Polo. Yeah. That's like it's the hard song on the album or whatever, right? And it fucking like when I was the kid, like that was probably the intro for me because I'm coming from like hard gangster stuff and then I'm finding this. I'm going.
It will be at your next comedy.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Fuck yeah. They called me Big Noid. I'd be fucking hyped on that.
Yeah.
But the I think like that's actually funny too because lyrically coming in with that and then finding like the grind or whatever, right? And then really kind of seeing like leveling it out.
I feel like the
right?
first track
I
heard.
I was saying it's a very mature album, right?
Yeah.
But then it really kind of shows like with Marco Polo and Masta Ace on that, like Marco Polo production is fucking fantastic as well. And if anybody wants to see like a cool kind of just album where a producer can go in and fucking get their pick of the litter of any MC they want. There's so many fucking great duos that you would never hear on this on a bunch of Marco Polo records.
Yeah,
but Port Authority, I think, is the one.
He has incredible.
And
features,
on that album, Nostalgia with Masta Ace is definitely we'll play it after the show. Put a fucking link for it as one of the what I mean. It's becoming like one of those like underground anthems or whatever, right? Which is like I guess it's weird because you could say something like underrated or whatever, right? But anybody that knows, you'll always have like a tip of the hat to that guy, right? Yeah. Or even the posse cut thing. Now it's so fucking everybody in the crew kind of coming together. The first time that happened is like on the Symphony with Craig G, Cool G Rap,
which
Big Daddy Kane, and Masta Ace having the first.
You actually don't see as much anymore now. Now I feel like you don't see those kind of tracks that much, right?
Like Army of the Pharaohs, it costs too much to get them all together, or Jedi Mind Tricks, you know what I mean? Like if it's up to Vinny to put together the whole fucking army, then he's like it costs too much fucking money.
Yeah,
you know
his last few solo albums though have been fucking
fantastic. Yeah,
incredible
Burn Everything
shit.
That Bears Your Name and all that stuff, right? And then, but I think it's like I gravitate towards those guys with the ability to kind of tell a story.
Yeah.
And Vinny's just always angry.
Oh yeah, like the opposite of Masta Ace. But I think 100%. The first song that I heard off of this was Revelations, which is the last song on the album. But I'm pretty sure, and that's the one he produced. So and it's just so personal and kind of like sums up the whole album, which is kind of like him being a guy that is been in hip hop for so long, but hasn't had, like we were saying, Masta Ace has more success than but it's like or Master P has more success than Masta Ace, but Masta Ace is like a much better rapper, right? So it's like to know you're really good at something. It's like, and it echoes with comedy with whatever you do.
Totally.
And
there's a lot of guys that are that talented to be like,
this,
if nobody's
I don't have
listening.
much to show for it. And then you kind of look at the journey of this album, and it's like he has this career, he's kind of doing his thing, but then it's like he falls into puts his focus in the wrong place, or trusts the wrong thing, or makes the wrong decision, and then
I was just trying to be too fucking real. Like it's like because by that time, like 2004, you have guys like who were these thug fucking dude. You have Snoop Dogg coming out with like "Drop It Like It's Hard," like
totally.
Like it's like he's already gone like crazy mainstream.
Oh yeah,
whatever. It's
hip hop
like,
at this point
Masta
is $1 billion.
Ace is still this like
He's
still a pretty real motherfucker.
Everybody knows his name, and he watched it kind of like hip hop surpass him to $1 billion industry almost at that point, right? And you're still kind of sitting, you know what I mean, in that same neighborhood. Like fuck it, you know what I mean? Like what like what do you do, right? It's that's like again like the maturity here to know and like to put that record out still being like at 35, and he didn't really do another one until like M.A. Doom or whatever, like I think like and probably maybe even like 10 years later or whatever, right? you know. So I think
and apparently Ace has a new concept album, like the Brooklyn Way or something like that. So
Sick.
it's another one which
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't listened to yet, but
Okay,
I'm eager
fuck
to,
yeah. I'm very excited to check that out. I think but yeah,
and
one
then
of
like
those,
so to take a concept album and then to have different, not every song on this album is like a concept song completely. Like
Totally,
there
yeah.
is like a vague general idea, but then there are some that are like Soda and Soap is, you know, just that, like based on the interlude of Fat saying like, yo, go to the laundry, grab me some laundry detergent and some soda, like in one of the intros. So that becomes that, or Brooklyn Masala. Right?
So what would it be like? What would it be like?
Yeah. What if I wanted to fuck an Indian girl? What if I met a hot Indian girl?
You know, but it turns into like that story, kind of listening to that, like doing the homework for this record is not only do I love that song, and I have since I was a kid, but what I realized was that the story of that song and of me as like a person was like, I listened to that and was like, oh, like maybe you could like holler at a girl at a store or whatever,
for sure.
and then even get
experience,
that very short interaction, you know what I mean? And like, you know, maybe you'll call her
maybe
maybe you won't or whatever, right? Like whatever the case kind of being. You know, and then I was
I get it.
I was listening to it, kind of laughing, going like, "Oh shit!" Like I've lived with this song so long that I've kind of seen myself grow up. Yeah. You know what I mean? Kind of like
Johnny's
with that
like, I could
attitude
see myself fucking a black rapper.
Well,
But the name is funny too because it's Brooklyn Masala.
And in 2013, he made that dream come true.
It was his first, but it wouldn't be his last.
Yeah. It was at a Master P concert.
Tech 9, more like Tech 12. But the name is funny too, Brooklyn Masala, because it's just like where she's from and like the last thing she ate. Like if you fuck Johnny, it'd just be called, the song would just be called Vancouver Spaghetti. With the tomato sauce.
It would
Three
be
times.
Yeah,
three
with
times.
the
Three
tomatoes,
times.
it's
You could have went
hey.
cutlets. You
Yeah.
could have went anywhere. No, but you stay on you stay on it. You hit it back.
But I love to also, it's
Actually,
like,
I had rotini
it's like
last
Brooklyn
we did
Masala.
a pasta last night.
See, there you go. I know. I could smell it on him.
I'm telling you, man. I should have brought you a jar of the sauce. It's fucking fat. I'll give it to you.
I don't
It's great.
deny.
It's
Weren't you
great.
making pickles too? Yeah.
I've been making pickles.
Been
Yeah, I
pickling.
made a sauerkraut
Been
recently.
fermenting. Yeah. There's a
doing
lot
kind
of
stuff.
A lot of white foods going on.
A lot of white
There's
foods.
a lot of white foods. Yeah, you're blown back.
I put a little. I made some beans yesterday, and I put some cayenne in it. I was remarking at the heat.
That's hilarious. Like the old pickling thing with white people, right? We're like, how can we make these bland foods last forever?
You know, it would be good if you dumped vinegar on top of this.
What are those pickled potatoes? Why?
Yeah.
They pickle the weirdest shit too. I saw like pickled watermelon and shit like that.
I'm super into it. I like the idea.
I made pickled avocados once, and it made.
I'd
a
fuck
very,
with that.
Yeah,
The
like
good
a
Sammys.
good.
That
sounds good,
It
actually.
made a good guac. It
Oh
was-
yeah.
yeah,
I can see that.
Yeah, anytime you're gonna add some tang to something.
Yeah, you can pickle that.
come to our house.
yeah,
We'll put some tang on
Oh
it.
yeah.
We will leave a weird taste in your mouth.
But I love too that it's like Brooklyn Masala, great song.
Yeah.
And then there's an interlude, and then it's I think Travelocity, which is basically like just like a timeless like there's so many songs like this where it's just like I fuck girls from everywhere.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is the underground hoes and area codes.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean,
Those
right?
area
Yeah.
codes are the Wanderer. The Wanderer.
Oh
is a
yeah,
good one.
yeah. I've been everywhere,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, fuck yeah.
It's just like a
the
it's
Beach Boys, California girl.
two
Yeah.
girls for
Yeah.
one guy.
It's just a hip hop mambo number 5.
I know
Really.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love, so it's like Brooklyn Masala is the song before. Next song, punchline on there. It's like, I got an Indian chick, I call her Dirty Red.
Yeah.
When I come, I aim for the dot on her forehead.
Yeah.
I feel like Masta Ace was like, yo, I'm writing this Indian song. And the punchline's like, yeah, I got some shit for that. And he's like, yo, I'll put it on the next song.
Yeah.
I'll make the next one.
Well, how about we just do a song about fucking then, Ace? What's up?
That's hilarious.
But that's a great sample too. It's just some
I feel
weird-
like that Travelocity was probably the
It's some weird
like
French
the,
song.
I think that was the like the impetus or whatever to the EMC shows and stuff like that or
Yeah.
whatever, right? I think
Yeah.
that kind of had
I
that
think
vibe
so.
for sure.
punching words, so dope.
Oh fuck yeah!
Raucous, like, stuff
And
back
like
in the
there's
day.
and they're like if you want like some real shit out of them too is like they're. You know, if Ace has been looked over, then they're even on the level below that. I think Strickland is
yeah.
a fucking
Strickland's
an
beast.
EMT driver. Like he works as a New York City ambulance driver, and then when he ever can get out,
They're like
and go on
EMC.
to-
He's like, no, EMT.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the other
Do you
struggle
know
is real.
Rise? Have you ever heard of Rise?
Right.
He was the guy that was always popping up on freestyles, and it was like, fuck, this guy is great. But
Dude, he's on a song with Apathy. Yeah, and then I would have
He was
changed
part of
before I
that
changed
whole
my
crew.
name to Rise. Something like okay. Sorry,
he was
yeah.
so good. Apathy
Yeah.
too is like very underrated.
I think one of for my money, like probably one of my favorite rappers, one of
Yeah.
the best.
See, and he was very good at doing never the album, but the concept songs, like just
Yeah.
fire concept songs.
With
like
Connecticut
the chess
Casual,
one. Remember the chess
checkmate
one?
is I set my moves up strategically. Enemy
Fuck,
kings are
dude.
taken easily.
It's
Knights
done
move 4 spaces
so
in place of
well.
bishops east to be. Like it's
Yeah.
fucking nuts, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like
Yeah.
he's done so many of those.
Oh,
right?
oh yeah, and like the Seven Nation Army fucking cover, like that's all of like where's your album, and then I think it goes on. Yeah, well we could break that down for a
yeah.
long time. But
Yeah.
Connecticut Casual, I think
Yeah.
what, now where he's at is more like he's been a Freemason for a long time, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of like Illuminati shit,
Well, and he kinda
JFK,
is
and then and
leaping,
nautical
like,
weird stuff.
He has more broad concepts. So
Yep.
it's like, there's like the Illuminati one, the Connecticut one. There was like the pirate
Yep.
kind of stuff.
Yep. Love that shit.
So
Yeah.
he's like kind of going into these different areas and like just the Russia, the like Moscow
Yep.
one.
Yep.
So it's like he's just kind of like, okay, let me sample these different areas and tap into these different kind of markets. But he's great. Like,
Oh, totally.
yeah.
And now I think like it gives like kind of free reign for like independent artists to do whatever the fuck they want. And I think that like now with like these guys definitely kind of paving the way, the internet is its own thing, but I think that it's cool that some of like my childhood heroes or whatever are still killing it, and it's, in my opinion, some still like, you know what I mean, especially in Apathy's case, still some of the best in the game.
Yeah, for sure. Rappers just took like different approaches now. Some have podcasts, some are doing different. T.I.'s, trying to do stand up.
Fuck, have you guys seen that shit?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
Oof, it's
Joe Budden's podcast. The last Joe Budden's fucking video I saw was him talking to academics, and he's like, "Why do you change your Instagram to have it 666 posts? Do we have to have a conversation about devil worship?"
Oh my god. Yeah.
now, like,
Joe Budden.
wow.
Yeah.
Joe Budden was
Yeah.
just I remember when Slaughterhouse came, 'cause I was right
Yeah.
at the time they rocked the bells or whatever. And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Joel
Oh, yeah,
Ortiz
Slaughterhouse was there, yeah.
and Royce 5'9". I'm like, oh shit, this could be dope. Crooked Eyes in there. I'm like, okay. And Joe Budden. Come on.
I guess.
That would have been a great group. Where are we at here? We're at 51 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, babe. Sorry, we've been just fucking.
There's a
Yeah,
great
no,
there's a
no.
great Masta Ace, old Masta Ace and Eminem song called Hellbound.
Oh
Yeah. I know that
A
track.
lot of the old Eminem shit is fucking fire too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Very
was in that same thing. Like they're all working with each other.
Before he was
Yeah.
eating spaghetti.
off the wall.
Yeah.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
But I think the Ace I think the Ace album, it does kind of like, it wraps up like it is kind of him, this story of, he's trying to be a rapper, it's not going great, he's kind of touring, getting wrapped up with the wrong people, and then at the end he ends up in prison, which then leads to the like Disposable Arts starts with him getting out of prison and going to the school, right? So it, like, I think it, especially Revelations, like there's one line he's like, raps like trying to piss in the wind. I'm just glad some of y'all are listening in. It's like he knows he hasn't hit the level that he wanted to, but you're still there. People, you still have fans. You still get to go do this thing that you love. So
Totally.
it's this weird kind of melancholy, like ambivalence almost to a degree that.
Yeah, when you were talking about it, I pointed out Jackie because like it gives me like goosebumps to kind of think. You know what I mean, right? That I remember hearing that when you're a kid, going like, "No way," you know what I mean? Like this is like such like a weird way to look at it. But then like the older that you get, the more like the balls that you have to have in such like an industry or bravado or whatever to put it out and just kind of be like, "Hey, fuck it, this is what it is." You know what I mean? I put it out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It did what it did, and I think like just be grateful for
and
whatever
it's
you
a
had.
similar thing with comedy. It's like you can be doing it for a long time, and like you don't hit the levels that you want to.
Yeah.
We're lucky to a degree that we live in a city. Like imagine we all lived in like fucking Omaha, Nebraska. Like it would be way harder to like get things popping. So
Totally.
we're able to like kind of take these shortcuts where it's like, actually it didn't imagine, like you used to have to grind for 10 years, 15, 20 years.
Fuck
It's
yeah.
like, Now it's like, okay, we just DIY, do our own shit, make it happen, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, and we have like the internet and stuff too, which makes it a lot
Yeah,
easier to
for
kind
sure.
of, pop off in your own way.
Yeah, and
But,
the underground to pave the way.
Yeah. I feel bad. Ty was so excited to go in on Michael Rappaport, and we just changed the subject to your
Oh,
to
we
your
can end
dad.
it with shitting on Michael Rappaport.
Yeah,
He's a bum.
The Dave Portnoy stuff was hilarious.
Oh yeah, it was fucking like so good. That's like the main reason why I think I
Yeah.
like fucking hate him. Yeah, I don't know what happened. There's a couple guys like that, right? Where it's like
he's just too overly opinionated. It's just like, dude, nobody
he's overly
cares.
woke about
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
For a guy that's supposed to be, there's something super annoying about a guy who's like, you're in an industry that's like you're supposed to be able to talk and like
Yeah.
just say shit and
Yeah.
jokes,
Yeah.
but he like shits on other people.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
totally,
the
and
worst.
it's like a weird kind of crossover because, like, I think if you're like an actor for the most part, you kind of shut the fuck up, right? So, like, when he made like the transition into like sports talk and all that stuff, like everybody loves like an opinionated New Yorker, right?
Right.
But not that many of
Yeah,
them.
talk about the
Yeah,
Shut the
opinionated
fuck
in the wrong way. Though.
Yeah.
Like it's not entertaining.
Yeah, it's like, okay, talk about the Yankees and the Knicks. Don't talk about fucking like
Yeah.
Totally.
just stuff that like, oh man, we don't want to hear this from you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
nobody wants
Yeah.
this weird, aggressive, like Jewish, Italian, whatever the fuck you are, New York
Whatever the fuck you are.
scumbag to be like, yo, that's whack. You shouldn't be being racist and shit. It's like, dude, fucking, we know.
Drop your
Shut up.
accent, sir. Yeah.
He did do the Tribe doc, which that Tribe documentary is.
Oh,
fantastic.
100%. His work, like, kind
It's a
of
good
speaks for
actor,
itself.
right?
100%.
It's just
Oh,
like
fuck
stay in
yeah.
your lane, right?
Yeah,
Don't
totally.
don't be
exactly.
Ti
That's-
trying to do stand up.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Know your role and shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Like
Atypical,
even
just
like
not
if you're the
awards.
best at something, like you are Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm gonna play baseball.
Yeah.
It's like you're
Yeah.
not Reggie
Yeah,
Jackson. Like
dude.
you just don't, you know.
Totally. Just be
Yeah.
humble and be
Just
fucking
be
happy.
good at
Be
that.
John
Be-
Daly.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Especially if you're
Be
like
John
an artist.
Daly.
Like you're gonna
We're
ruin
crazy.
your art for people.
Yeah.
Like fucking Neil Young all of a sudden having
Right.
an opinion about
Right.
Joe Rogan.
Gives
It's
a
like
no one
uh,
gives a fuck.
like yeah.
No one fucking cares.
Yeah.
But it honestly shouldn't change. It's just like it shouldn't change. Like he's still a great musician. You hear the
Yeah.
songs,
Yeah,
you're like
yeah,
these are
of
great.
course. Yeah.
But it just sours your opinion to a degree. It's like great
Exactly,
song,
yeah.
but this guy's a douche.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's no
exactly. Now
longer-
there becomes like another conversation
Yeah.
on top of the
Yeah,
song.
it's
Instead
no
of just
longer-
like
enjoy the
yeah,
thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Instead of
The
just
first-
appreciating the art, it's like
Yeah, the first thing you think of is like that thing,
Yeah.
other than
Yeah.
like great musician.
Yeah,
But,
and that sucks. That's fucking like your whole life. You're like harvest,
Yeah,
harvest. And now when I hear Neil Young, I'm like Joe Rogan.
But now here's,
exactly.
Yeah, I never thought I'd
His
swing to
entire
Fear
life.
Factor guy.
Here's-
Yeah,
here-
it's a Fear
took one
Factor
story to
guy.
just completely flip that
Oh
narrative.
my
here's
God.
the
Wouldn't
real
fucking-
comedy thing. This is why you're all scumbags. As if Justin Nickel called you guys and said, "Hey, I need you to fucking feature for Michael."
I was just gonna
Rappaport."
say that in a heartbeat.
You know, I'll
Up
be
there.
like, I'll be there. Do I have to suck his dick? I'll do it.
yeah,
100%.
What,
100%.
I have
Catch
to
me,
give you
just
money?
ca-
Okay.
But I don't know
Totally.
what he's gonna be doing.
Yeah.
Like he's just
Yeah.
he's just gonna be saying buzzwords and catchphrases.
Oh,
and
for
Yeah,
sure.
I
Getting
don't
applause
underst-
breaks.
I don't
But yeah, no, I will
understand
suck dick to get to the top.
He's-
Catch me
he's-
tonight at a House of Comedy doing 5 minutes on a Kate Quigley show.
You know it's in BC and he's woke. He's definitely gonna come out and be like, every child matters. Just fucking applause.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck.
yeah. Oh,
Can we
God,
do
yeah,
a fucking land acknowledgement here? What is I want to do to the
We are on the
whatever
land of the
tribe-
wet Sawen, whatever the fuck.
there was Apaches here hundreds of years ago. I just want to give them
You know, I was up for an Apache role one time.
Apache beard.
Apache. Well, I mean, he probably killed a couple of them in fucking higher
Patchy
learning.
beard.
I
But
think he's just trying to do all the work he can to that he like smeared for himself on higher learning.
Yeah.
It's like when you're caught on film killing that many black people from a watchtower, you got to do a lot of backpedaling.
he's just trying to make more money and is just trying to hop on what the trend is now.
Which I don't like a lot of these
Yeah.
people. Even like Steve-O and fucking even the wrestlers doing
Yeah.
stand up. I get it, but it's not stand up. Like it's a different
Yeah.
thing.
I'll
like,
go see Mick Foley talk.
yeah,
but I'm not going to
exactly.
see a stand-up
If it's in a
show.
theater,
Yeah.
but when they classify it as like you're going to watch like Screech do stand up or whatever, it's just
Yeah.
it's like no, he's not a
It's not
comedian.
stand-up.
Yeah.
it's like a one-man show.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's a
not
spectacle,
fucking
right? It's
stand-up.
not. The
It's
thing
just a
that we
guy
like
you're
to
kind of a
do.
fan of, and okay, you want to go watch him, but it's like this guy doesn't have Ti. What What is T.I.
He
gonna
doesn't
be
have a
talking
funny
about?
bone in his body,
Yeah.
timing, any fucking thing. It's
Oh, he
atrocious.
always just
yeah.
tries to be so eloquent on his podcast too. He's just like,
Yeah.
he's like the magnification of your epitome. It's just
He just ends up sounding like Mike Tyson trying to like fucking be super smart. You're like,
trying to
"It's not working
pursue
for you."
excellence through a genre that is unattained but
Yeah.
mysterious.
That's a good TI. That's a good TI.
Yeah.
Once.
Fucking go back to not eating your wife's pussy, T.I.
Yeah, man. What you know about that?
Not a thing.
Oh, good, bitch. We had it there. Where you
yeah.
plugging?
Yeah. What,
All comedy
when is this
Ring.
coming out?
Comedy,
Monday or the
Monday.
next- yeah.
Yeah, Monday.
This Monday. Okay, yeah. Well, we got the roast battle. What is this Monday? Yeah. So the roast battle June 2nd.
Oh, yeah.
Calabash. Got some great matchups. Our own Jonny DeVito versus Jordan Wilson.
I'm going to get
Gonna
you,
be
motherfucker.
good.
Are you here for that one? I forgot to ask. I'm booking it on this show now. Because you could judge. or-
I have the Peters NFT.
Oh,
show
yeah.
that
Okay,
night.
Yeah.
cool. Well, hopefully that gets
Yeah.
canceled.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, Peter.
I think
History
there's a
may
good
repeat
chance.
itself.
Yeah.
And then
We know- one thing we know about Peter, he can't sell tickets to a show.
You guys want to see what Justin Nicholas has to say about it?
what?
God.
So the roast battle, we got the 16th is shaping up good. We got some good battles planned for that. The 30th, there are some big things in motion for that. There's that thing we talked about before. That's happening. To the two things, so that's good. So that'll be on the 30th, 16th, 2nd, all of June, roast battles.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
And then we'll have some dates at Amsterdam Cafe coming up soon.
Very cool.
Comedy Ting on the 5th, the 19th, and the 26th. So come on down to Calabash. Come on down to New Amsterdam Cafe. You see these guys. You see Ty. You see everybody. Ravi will be back. It'll be good. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
Thank you for everything you
Thank
do.
you.
Yeah, thank you. This was fun. And Ty's dad, if you're watching, give the
He's
guy
not.
a call. Daddy wasn't there.
Second Austin Powers reference in 2 episodes. Let's go.
Daddy wasn't there. Peace.